What's good, Vikings faithful? Skull Nation, it's time to rally up and pay tribute to a true legend of the Minnesota Vikings, Jim Marshall, the Iron Man himself. Today, we're diving into the legacy of a man who defined what it means to bleed purple and gold, a cornerstone of Vikings news that still inspires us. Are you ready to relive the glory of Captain Jim? Let's set the stage. Jim Marshall, number 70, wasn't just a player. He was the heartbeat of the Vikings for 19 incredible seasons, starting 270 consecutive games, appearing in 4 Super Bowls, and leading as team captain for 14 years straight. This man was toughness personified. His jersey is retired, his name's in the Ring of Honor, and his story is one every Vikings fan needs to know. Here's the teaser. From the Purple People Eaters to his game-changing community work, Marshall's impact goes way beyond the field. Stick with me as we break down 10 epic moments of his legacy that'll make you proud to be part of the Skull family. What's your favorite Jim Marshall memory? Drop it in the comments. Let's get this conversation rolling. Let's kick things off with Marshall's unreal durability. The man never missed a single game in 19 seasons with the Minnesota Vikings. 270 starts. Every single one. That's not just a record. It's a testament to the grit and heart that define Vikings football. Think about it. Rain, snow, or shine, Captain Jim was out there, ready to dominate. Drafted by the Cleveland Browns in 1960 out of Ohio State, Marshall's journey to Minnesota started with a trade after his rookie year. From that moment, he became a Viking for life, setting a standard for what it means to wear the purple. His 127 career sacks, second in Vikings history, prove he wasn't just showing up, he was wrecking shop. Can you imagine playing every game for nearly 2 decades? That's the kind of warrior we're talking about. How does Marshall's Iron Man streak stack up against today's NFL stars? Let me know in the comments, and let's keep this Vikings news vibe going strong. Now, let's talk about the Purple People Eaters, arguably the most iconic defensive line in NFL history. Jim Marshall, alongside Carl Eller, Gary Larson, and Alan Page, formed a unit that struck fear into every offense they faced. The Minnesota Vikings weren't just a team. They were a force of nature, and Marshall was the anchor. This crew helped lead the Vikings to 4 Super Bowl appearances in the 1960s and 1970s. Marshall's leadership as the captain wasn't loud or flashy. He led by example, with a quiet strength that earned respect from teammates and opponents alike. His 127 sacks were a huge part of why quarterbacks dreaded facing the Vikings. Picture this. It's a freezing day at Metropolitan Stadium, and the Purple People Eaters are shutting down another offense. What's your favorite defensive moment from that era? Hit the comments and let's relive those bone-crushing Vikings highlights together. Marshall wasn't just a beast on the field, he was a leader off it. Named team captain for 14 consecutive seasons, he embodied what it means to be a Minnesota Viking. His teammates didn't just respect him, they revered him. Ahmad Rashad called him one of the nicest, most wonderful people he'd ever met. That's high praise from a Vikings legend. Chuck Foreman, another Vikings great, said knowing Marshall was a damn privilege. This wasn't just about football, it was about the man. Thoughtful, caring, and always ready to give the shirt off his back. Marshall built a legacy of camaraderie that still resonates in Vikings news today. What makes a great captain in your eyes? Is it the stats, the leadership, or the heart? Drop your thoughts below, Skull fans, and let's keep celebrating the spirit of the Minnesota Vikings. Let's zoom in on those 4 Super Bowl runs. The Vikings, with Marshall anchoring the defense, made it to the big game in 1969, 1973, 1974, and 1976. While the Lombardi Trophy stayed out of reach, Marshall's presence in every single one of those games showed his clutch factor. The man was built for the biggest stages. His role in the Purple People Eaters' dominance meant opponents had to game plan around him. With 127 sacks, he was a quarterback's nightmare, and his leadership helped elevate the entire defense. Those Super Bowl teams are still a point of pride for every Vikings fan out there. Which Vikings Super Bowl team is your favorite? Or, if you're dreaming of the day we finally bring home that trophy, what's the key to getting it done? Share your thoughts in the comments, and let's keep the Skull fire burning. Marshall's legacy isn't just about stats, it's about the intangibles. The Wilf family, owners of the Minnesota Vikings, called him the all-time Iron Man, whose unmatched durability and quiet leadership set the tone for the franchise. That's not just talk. That's the kind of impact that shapes a team's identity. He wasn't the loudest guy in the room, but his actions spoke volumes. Whether it was rallying the defense or mentoring younger players, Marshall's presence made everyone around him better. That's why his number 70 is retired and why he's forever enshrined in the Vikings Ring of Honor. What's the one quality you think every Viking should have? Heart, toughness, or something else? Let's hear it in the comments. And let's keep this Vikings news tribute to Captain Jim alive. Off the field, Marshall's impact was just as massive. After retiring, he stayed in Minnesota, proving his love for the community that cheered him on. In 1991, alongside teammate Oscar Reed, he co-founded The Link, an organization that's been a lifeline for young people facing homelessness, sexual exploitation, or involvement in the juvenile justice system. The Link serves roughly 2,000 youth and families in the Twin Cities every year. That's not just a statistic, that's a legacy of compassion and action. Marshall didn't just play for Minnesota. He gave back to it, making a difference that's still felt today. How inspiring is it to see a Vikings legend like Marshall make such a difference? What's a cause you'd love to see the Vikings support today? Drop your ideas below, and let's keep the conversation going. Let's talk about Marshall's journey to becoming a Viking. After one season with the Cleveland Browns, he was traded to Minnesota in 1961, and the rest is history. He didn't just join the team, he became its foundation, playing every single game for 19 years. That's the kind of loyalty that defines Vikings football. His college days at Ohio State set the stage for his pro career, but it was in Minnesota where he became a legend. From his first snap to his final play, Marshall gave everything to the purple and gold, earning the nickname Captain Jim for his relentless leadership. What's your favorite story of a player becoming a Viking for life? Share it in the comments, and let's celebrate the players who make Minnesota Vikings history so special. Marshall's 127 sacks are a huge part of his legend, but let's break it down. Second in Vikings history, those numbers don't just show his skill, they show his consistency. Game after game, year after year, he was a force that offenses couldn't ignore. That's why he's a Vikings news icon. His role in the Purple People Eaters wasn't just about stats. It was about setting a tone. With Carl Eller, Gary Larson, and Alan Page, Marshall helped create a defensive identity that's still the gold standard for Vikings fans. Those guys didn't just play, they dominated. What's the most dominant defensive performance you've seen from the Vikings? Past or present? Let me know in the comments, and let's keep hyping up our team's legacy. Skull Nation, we've just walked through the epic legacy of Jim Marshall, a man who lived and breathed Minnesota Vikings football. From 270 straight starts to 4 Super Bowl runs to changing lives through the Link, Captain Jim is the ultimate Viking. His story reminds us why we love this team and why we keep pushing for that first Lombardi trophy. As we honor Marshall, let's keep his spirit alive. Be tough, be passionate, and always give back to the community, just like he did. What's one way you're keeping the Skull spirit alive this season? Share it below, and let's build this Vikings community together. If you love this tribute to Jim Marshall, smash that like button, drop a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe for more Vikings news that hits you right in the feels. Share this with your fellow Skull fans, and let's keep the purple pride roaring. Skull Vikings!